I'm a big fan of those paint your pet events that some art studios do. I have done a couple of those myself. You can see one on the screen right now. In this one, the artist actually drew my cat and I just colored it, so it was more like a coloring session. And then another one I did, the artist actually walked us through the process of creating the drawing first and then coloring it. So because of that, I now know how to do it myself. So I did this one at home, and today I'm gonna tell you how I did this, and we're gonna go step by step through the entire process. So I see the benefit in both doing it yourself at home and going to the art studio. There's a specific experience you're going through when you go to the art studio. You're there with multiple other people and everybody's painting their pets and talking about that. So it's really fun to do, and I enjoyed it very much. Yesterday was my birthday, so I decided I wanted to do that, but I didn't want to plan for a class on that day. I just wanted to do it relaxed at home. So I just replicated the process myself, starting from outlining the photo of my cat. The letter size photo worked great for the size of the canvas that I had, so all I had to do was just print it out. I printed out in black and white so I could see the differences in shading better, and so I just walked through the outline of hers with like a red marker so I could see the lines clearly, and then I took a piece of graphite and I turned the picture around, and I just, as you can see, filled the entire page with graphite. This was the technique that the artist taught us when I was painting one of my cats, whose name is Snoop, and I really appreciated it because usually, you know, artists and art studios, they don't want to tell you their secrets. I don't know exactly how they do the drawings, the original drawings, but she taught us because she was actually an art teacher, and I really appreciate it because I could do it at home. And I think there's value in both, right? So you can do like a fun girls' night out at the studio and paint your pets together, but sometimes maybe you want to do it at home, and the benefit of doing it at home is that you can walk away anytime and you can come back and continue. So here was the day when I was working on the original drawing, and so you can see once I was done with the graphite, I just turned it back around, and this was when I needed those red lines, right? So I pressed on the paper with the backside of my brush, and this way I was able to transfer the entire picture on the canvas. To be honest, I didn't really need to go that much into detail with the lines because as I cover it with paint, I cover some of the lines, but I think there's still value in that because you can kind of memorize, you know, where the change happens between the different hues and shades, etc. So better have more detail than less, I guess, when transferring, because really, like, worst case scenario, you're just not gonna need those lines, but some of them you will need. So I think it's always better to go into a little bit more detail here. So I've done all the prep work a couple of days before my birthday, and on my birthday I sat down with the paints and everything and I just colored it. It was very fun and relaxing. When it comes to coloring, I don't think there's any skill required. You look at the picture and you're trying to replicate that the best way you can. And in the beginning it just looks like a bunch of different colors and shapes, and it's honestly, as an amateur looking at the process, I'm surprised at myself at how this in the beginning eventually turns into a picture that actually resembles your pet. You can see for yourself as you continue watching this video how it turns into the picture of Tristan by the end. By the way, I don't know if I've mentioned that, but I'm using acrylics. They say that acrylics are very beginner friendly, and I would agree. Oftentimes I didn't have the right shades of brown, so I just mixed colors together until they looked kind of close to what I wanted. There's a science to mixing colors, and for me, I'm just eyeballing it and trying to reach the closest result I can. The eyes is when it all comes together and kind of starts looking real. I've noticed that before in Paint the Pet events that the eyes are really making it pop and making it look like your pet. So I have 3 cats. I have Masanya, Snoop, and Tristan. Masanya is a tabby cat. She's from Russia. We brought her. She's almost 22 years old. And Snoop and Tristan were adopted together. Snoop is our tuxedo cat, and Tristan is calico, which is, the word I learned when we were adopting her. I've never heard this word before. And I've decided, because her eyes are like this deep yellow, kind of ochre color, I decided to color the background of the painting this shade as well. This is not required, but I prefer to paint the side of the canvas as well. And so after I did that, I let it sit for a little bit so it could get drier. And then I started working on the rest of her body. The face, when we were doing the Paint Your Pet events, they usually recommend getting a picture where the face is visible. That's because, I don't know, I guess the resemblance will be mainly in the face, in their expression. You know, Tristan has this very intense expression always. She always, she often looks sad, and that's just the shape of her eyelids and her eyes. She kind of looks timid and sad, and it goes with her personality as well, because she's our shy cat. She's the quiet cat. She's very sweet, but she's afraid of people, and we think she's been through some difficult stuff before we adopted her, because she just shows some signs of trauma, like being scared of sudden movement and stuff. So it was very important for me to capture her personality. And yes, she's shy. She's a shy little girl. She's scaredy, but that's her. That's who she is. And I think this picture, expresses this perfectly. And that's why I picked this one, and not one where she looks maybe more royal and brave, But that's who she is. That's my Tristan. Now I'm finishing the picture by adding just a little bit more texture. I'm using white because it just helps to get that reflection, light reflection on her fur. And then once I'm all done with that, I go for the hardest part, which for me is always the whiskers. So when I was in the Paint to Pet events, I always asked the artist to do the whiskers for me, because it's hard and you need like a thinner brush. And you can see here I messed it up a little bit, and then I cleaned it up a little bit, and then I did it a little bit more, and it worked. It's fine, but this is a little bit tough. And then I went and I changed the form of her nose a little bit, just so that it resembled her more. But these are just like those final touches that really bring the picture to life. And that is it, the final result, my Tristan. Now all my 3 cats have their own dedicated portraits, which they fully deserve. Here they are, Tristan, Snoop, and Messiania. And I appreciate how I was able to get Tristan to look very realistic. I feel like that's the benefit of doing it at home, because you can spend enough time on that. I hope this was helpful, and thank you so much for watching.